with him. But we thought it was better, as they were calling me to apologize. They wouldn't be able because they were going with the president. I said, that is even better. Go there and negotiate for further investments into Anambra State. And so, but even in spite of that, I still, I understand the confirmed 500, but I'm told over 1,300 already here. But thank you very much, and welcome to Anambra. In a few stops, I want to say to you, that message has been said. Accessible by air, by land, and by sea. Once we get the Onitsha port thing now dredged and the barges start coming down to Anambra, Anambra will be accessible by air, land, and sea. It is a hub. With the Niger Bridge completed, Asaba and Onitsha have become almost like New Jersey and New York, twin cities. We have the largest market in West Africa, it is said. I remember one of the times that the former president, Obasanjo, visited here and we were seeing him off today, he did mention to me that Onitsha is actually the largest fish market, and not only in Nigeria, even in West Africa. You have the billionaires, has been said, enterprising human capital. We have 15 major higher institutions, tertiary institutions, 10 universities, 3 polytechnics, 2 colleges of education in terms state by state. And we are number 7 in the entire country. Our 5 pillars of the Soludo Solution Agenda is on course. Our vision, as you saw in the video, security, law, and order is improving. We're aggressively addressing our infrastructure deficiencies. As of today, about 470 kilometers of roads are being constructed across the 21 local governments of the state. We've signed an MOU, very intentional about addressing the issue of power. We've signed an agreement with EEDC. We'll have gas pipelines being planned to be able to energize independent power plants and to really develop an Anambra electricity market. Urban regeneration is on course. Water and ports, as we mentioned, on course. Planning a rail feasibility study and master plan. That's part of the MOUs we're going to sign today. A 2,000-kilometer fiber optic ducts being laid across the state to give people access to cheap and accessible internet access. And we're determined to break the jinx, decade-old jinx, about availability of urban and rural pipe-borne water schemes in Anambra State. That is also on course. Industrial city, industrial parks, and an industrial city. You'll be talking about that today. Our export emporium and Africa's largest shopping mall is on course. That's being designed now. The feasibility study is finished. The agricultural regeneration, palm and coconut revolution, etc. The Chinese ambassador, I understand there's an MOU we're going to sign with you with regards to mushroom production and export and other strategic investments and export potentials to as you mentioned here, China, the largest market, at least by the size of the population, and so on. And of course, you have the second largest GDP in the world, a huge market which we need to exploit. And thank you for coming, and with the team that you have here. About 400 Chinese live in Anambra, in various sectors. And there are 2 institutions where Chinese language is taught here in Anambra. And as I mooted to you when we passed, we'll give you an estate where you'll build a Chinatown. It's not just the boulevard. You're going to have the Chinatown here in Anambra. And you did say to me that you will take it up and get it done. So we're waiting for the boulevard that you mentioned and a whole lot of others. We're also having our people intentionally, we're developing from importation to production and exportation. Many of those companies are people who are importing from China, from India. We have a special program. Last week or 2 weeks ago, I had a meeting with 300 of them, major importers, to develop an agenda very deliberately to turn them from being importers to domestic producers and ultimately secured Anambra. I say to you, when you come again by this time next year, after this a summit like this, you wouldn't just go back to your hotels or go some other places. We'll take you to the Solution Fund City into Anambra. Our goal is to turn Anambra from being a departure lounge to a destination point. We must change that narrative from being a departure lounge to a destination point. The world will intentionally plan to come to Anambra. And in a few years' time, our goal is that any visitor, any foreigner that gets to Nigeria and hasn't been to Anambra, hasn't been to Nigeria. Our human capital agenda, quite ongoing on talk. We're prioritizing that. And in the next 2 weeks, I will be addressing our people on education. Education is key. Our human capital is our biggest resource ever. We have the gas, we have natural resources, minerals, solid minerals, and so on. But our greatest resource is human capital. And we're intentional about developing our human capital to be productive at home, but also to be exportable abroad. On governance, everything technology and technology everywhere, to mainstream efficient service delivery. Today we know that in Anambra, you can now obtain change of title of land, your certificate of occupancy, and so on. It's gone from taking months and 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. It's now cut down to 3 days, 3 to 5 days, and you get your CFO in Anambra State. We're very intentional about this, and we're not joking about it. A new local government system is emerging. Our environment, our biggest existential threat. We are working towards a plan, clean, green, and sustainable markets, communities, and cities. We're planning better. We are the gully erosion capital of the world. Everywhere, gully erosion. You can see the Onitsha, Owerri Federal Highway is been caught in many places by gully erosion. And Anambra State is putting out a few billions to fix that. And then the other day, the one Nobi to Mpo is also being cut completely. And different spots, as we're fixing here, the other places are rising, but we've come with a comprehensive agenda, which the State Assembly, Mr. Speaker, I'm sure you and members of the State Assembly are also here, especially recognize you. And I'm sure when you are back from your holidays, that will be one of the first bills we will be presenting to you to rescue our environment and make our environment sustainable. Our urban regeneration agenda is on course. I can go on and on and on and on and on, but just to tell you, our potential investors, that Anambra, we are firing on all cylinders, and Anambra will be that place for you to come. This is an investment summit like no other. And I will tell you a few things that will make this different. And I'm glad country coordinator of the United Nations system here and the Chinese ambassador. Chinese ambassador particularly stressed that this shouldn't just be talk, we should be closing deals. Is that? This is a summit, an investment summit that is different. It's not just coming to talk. Not much ceremonies, not much protocols. We'll symbolically sign some deals in a few minutes' time. I'm sure by the time we listen to our keynote speaker, president of the Afrexim Bank. I would also be mentioning some specific engagements we have with them, because we will also be signing an MOU with them today. We are very intentional and deliberate. I've mentioned a structured program to mainstream people from importation to production and to exportation eventually, especially exploiting the opportunities under the Africa Free Trade Agreement that we have. The world is for us, and Nigeria is the largest economy in Africa, but it's potentially one of Nigeria, by the turn of this century, should be in the top 3, top 4 largest economy in the world if we focus our mind toward it. But whatever Nigeria goes, Anambra is determined to become a point that we will be exporting deliberately in some months to come. And that's why we've acquired 106 hectares of land at Ukpo Ukulu. And that's where we're establishing the export emporium with the warehouses, an aggregation center that will become a free trade zone, an export free trade zone. We are innovation district to midwife the emergence of digital tribe, and so on and so forth. Our 1U 2 Skills program, we're trying to mainstream deliberately and empower the emergence of MSMEs, okay, in the state. Organizing funding, thinking it through, do the mentoring process from gestation, project development to execution. Execution, execution, execution. We're investing in project development, feasibility studies to take project to bankability. This is different. We're not just telling you, come and invest. We want to handhold and work with you. As I say everywhere, if you have a major investment to make in Anambra, I will become your personal assistant. And will be the chief marketing officer for you. When you see me wearing made in Obunike shoe, or wearing the Akwete made by the women of Akwete in Abia, or driving innocent vehicles as my personal vehicles, it is deliberate, it's intentional, and it is designed to send a message that if we don't say here we are, nobody is going to say there you are. We'll be the chief marketing officer for anything, everything produced here in Anambra. And we're going to have an expo on Made in Anambra Expo. And we will be doing that expo shortly in a few months at the Export Emporium. We will invite you again to come to the Export Emporium. That is it. Made in Anambra for the world. We'll be marketing them. And today we'll be signing an MOU with Afrexim Bank on a coterie of projects that we'll be working hand in hand together and raising the funding, and they will also be helping to put together several of the funding. With international consulting firm Mahindra, Global Consulting, to help us to develop the feasibility study and the master plan for our industrial cities and parks. It's not just come and build industry here, everywhere. People are building this. We're acquiring about 5,000 to 7,000 hectares of land. That will be a complete industrial city with everything that you need to be there. And and this is being planned, and a master plan of that is being developed as we speak. Of course, the pharmaceutical industrial hub and the Akwi-Head, the automotive, we call it the AUU, Akwi-Head Unubioga Automotive Industrial Park, and so on. We are forging, part of what is different is that we are deliberately forging productive partnerships with the international development partners, Ndi Anambra, and domestic investors, with the federal government, as well as the financial institutions. Yes, on the 9th of June last year, I think much of the international community, about 19 of them, Matthias, you were there, he led a team, the international community, from the ambassadors of the US, UK, Japan, Germany, France, and so on and so forth, South Africa, Egypt, and then all the development institutions. The World Bank country director is here. I'm sure he's on one of the, his keynote speaker in one of the panel sessions. And then IMF, and everybody was here. UNDP, UN System, UNIDO, and everybody was here. 19 of them came on a chartered flight from the UN to tour Anambra with all the opportunities. Tell you much what has been the spin-off from all of this. We are very deliberate about these partnerships, and we will continue to cement them and put Anambra on the map. And what again is different is that, like a personal commitment, and we have an organized, competent team. We have a one-stop shop, the Anambra State Investment Promotion and Protection Agency, which we are reviewing to expand their scope to also incorporate their financing. There is a session for that today where you talk about possibilities that we're exploring. And if need be, beside the investment funds that we might be developing, if it becomes necessary, we might actually, help to metamorphose or orchestrate deliberately the emergence of a new financial institution to help to propel this if we're not getting the kind of partnerships and networks that will require. We will have to bring one on board. Tomorrow, we'll be doing groundbreaking ceremony. Like I said, this is not just a talk shop. Following from here, tomorrow, we'll be having a groundbreaking ceremony for the second automobile manufacturing company here in Anambra after Innocent. The Oma Kojo groups at Omonya will be having the groundbreaking ceremony today. For some months to come, even days to come, we will be commissioning projects before the end of this year. Anambra is the place. Why some are still waiting to see when the situation is all perfect? Those who are taking the first mover advantages are moving in and expanding. I see Seahorse there, yeah. And the other day I was at the Tiger Foods. Is that? Their expansion plans to commission that. And within this year, I understand the Eastern Distilleries and Foods Industries Limited, being pioneered by one of our traditional rulers, Dr. Igwe Chris Orano Chidume, is going to be ready for commissioning this year. True or false? Yes, he says it's true. Thank you very much. We'll be coming on to commission that. I understand that's going to employ quite a number of our people. Reliable Steel and Plastics Industries of Chief Mrs. Maria Ihiono and Chief Sam Ihiono, that will be also ready for commissioning in the next couple of weeks or so. The EEDC metering company at Orifite, and I understand is now ready for commissioning, and the next week or two or so, we will be doing that. There's a long list of people and we will be coming. Like I said, if you produce it here in Anambra, appoint me as your chief marketing officer, and I will be there to do the commissioning. And today, we have symbolically, out of maybe 3 dozen or so of MOUs that are ready to be signed, we've symbolically chosen quite a few for the symbolism of it because they cover different sectors. There is the financing bit of it, which will have to do with Afrexim Bank. There is the consulting development of bankable feasibility studies that will be done by the Mahindra, as I mentioned, to generate a master plan as well for our industrial city. Then we have the Anambra Intra-City Rail. Intra-City Rail. These people have talked about it for decades, but there has been no feasibility study. There has been no master plan. We now want to walk the talk. We are hiring the CPCS of Canada, an international consulting firm that has helped to midwife several of the trained services around Africa and even the ones that we have had here in Nigeria. They will be producing a bankable feasibility study for us within between now and probably the next 6 months. We are signing that agreement today, not tomorrow. They will produce that master plan, and then we will begin to get the money to get this done. We have the automotive industrial park co-promoter, Oma Kojo Motors, joining us with that. We have the pharmaceutical industrial park, the Oka shopping mall. We've chosen sectors, different segments. We pick one person. We pick one representative of different ones, whether it is in the area of commerce, the shopping mall, or in the industrial automotive, or the promotion there. Then we get on to promoting a key thing we are promoting as a government, and that is public, community, private initiative, partnership, that the community partners with government. And the NENI has been a shining model of that. They are now dealing with an NENI water scheme, and we want to sign that here at El Paso. Go there and develop. And we are deliberately going to take gas and power industrial cities and industrial parks so that you can have embedded power in them, those basics and the infrastructure in those. That's why I say we are very intentional. There is a Green Village Electricity joint venture partnership, and they are doing this in the areas of the Nzam area. They had to reach poor sections of Anambra, in power to them, and then we'll sign something. We're supporting the concessionaires on the Onitsha River Port, just to say that we are intent on seeing the barges start loading, being Onitsha Port, becoming port of final destination and port of origin. Port of final destination and port of origin. And with the support we think we're likely to have, we are getting from the NIWA and so on, we're going to get it done. And I will tell you, my dear friends, we are here at a personal level. Guarantees, this is part of the question people ask us. And I have said it severally here. 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, a prominent Onye Anambra, former ambassador, told me she was in the US and conversing about people investing. And there was something one of them said. At one of the meetings, they complained that, governors ask people to come and invest, but they don't put their own investment there. You look at those who have born and they simply be governor, and after that they all run away and so on. If it is so nice, why don't they put their money? And that reminded me about an experience we had when we envisaged and designed the establishment of Transcorp. And when that was going to take off, the initial investor said, myself and the former president of Obasanjo, who came with the program, that we needed to put our own money, actually raise money and put in there to show that we believe. We believe. We don't just say, ask you to come. We do what? We believe. And I am saying at a personal level, if that is what will be required, I will also, if I can't get it, I can see some of the bankers here. If I don't have it, I know the bankers to go and borrow the money from. If you want that, the only way you want to invest there is that I should put in even if it is 1 naira, I will put in there as equity to tell you that I am in it for you and with you. And at a state, we are very deliberate. We're setting up an investment fund that we will also go with you if we need to, besides providing you with land and infrastructure. I applied for this job to help to build a state where I will not only live, retire, and die. This is my home. God didn't make a mistake in choosing to make me Onye Anambra. So, I'm putting in everything into this. So, we're at, and finally to say, we are going to do everything to encourage you in any way that you want to make your business prosper, to help to de-risk your investment here in Anambra. The coordinator, UN coordinator, made a very fundamental point that what must drive investments must not necessarily be in terms of profit and loss account, but also the social impact. Yes, when they built Israel, when they decided to intentionally build it as one of the most prosperous places in the world, it was not the most profitable place, but people were intentional about it. Maybe the rate of return, and I bet you if you produce it here, produce it in many places, I'm not quite sure if you go beyond Lagos, anywhere else that it will be more profitable, that has a larger market than here in Anambra. So if it is even in terms of profitability, Anambra, you'll have the market to put it. And like I said, we are a hub to the north, a hub to the southeast, southwest, south, and of course, the heartland of the east. So this is the place that you'll come. And we will do everything. In addition to recognizing all those of you who are making these sacrifices and investment, we will have, annually, besides the awards that we give and, to honor those of you who have become champions, who are employers of labor, this deserves to be the people that we should reward and recognize the most. A time is coming, in the coming months, it will be like if you tell us you are Onye Anambra, you are doing this and that, the question we ask you is, how many people, where is your factory? How many people are you employing? How many kilometers of road have you tarred? How many days, how many schools have you adopted? How many hospitals are you assisting? What have you done today to make Anambra great? What are you doing? That will become the basis for our reward and so on. And I want to tell you, we are going to be intentional about it. In fishing out those who are our champions, who are moving our state forward, and we will continue to reward you. For those who are mad, I once more welcome you to this particular edifice. I'm sure for many of you, this is your first time here. You are the first time here on this magnificent International Convention Center, Anambra State. I want to appreciate my predecessor in office, Chief Willie Obiano, who conceptualized and built this. We'll never acknowledge that enough, and we'll thank him. Even the airport that he also at least started it and got it to where he is. We are still building it, and I'm hoping we are going to get it completed. Probably today you've come to Anambra International Convention Center, Oka. Hopefully, I haven't even discussed this with him, but if he agrees, if he accepts, the next time when you come here, it will now become the Willie Obiano International Convention Center. Yes. If you accept, that's what we'll do. We play a different kind of politics in Anambra. Our politics is statesmanship. And all my predecessors in office, beginning from him, Chief Willie Obiano, did a great job. From him, you have the others, even the earliest ones, Dr. Chukwuemeka Ezife, first civilian governor we had here in this state, You get down to Dr. Chinwoke Mbadinuju, who many people forget was the one that established the Anambra State University at his own time. And of course, Dr. Chris Ngige and Mr. Peter Obi. These are our governors. We are going to deliberately find either institutions, boulevards, major streets, major roads to name after them. To name after them. And several of our people deserving of this, former governors, even them, Vejie Tiaba, and some other, Chinua Achebe, for example, Francis Cardinal Arinze, or Archbishop Anikwenwa, and so on, made one to honor them. And as we honor them, the young ones will now say that in Anambra, hard work is what we celebrate. Integrity is what we celebrate. We don't celebrate criminality in Anambra. We don't celebrate money that we don't know the source. In Anambra, we celebrate hard work. We celebrate enterprise. We celebrate those who make contribution to society. And this is what Anambra is all about. And if you are about that, I will be yours sincerely, will be your chief servant and your chief marketer. Once more, welcome to Anambra and enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you very much and God bless.
I think you'll agree with me that he deserves a way bigger round of applause than that. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Anambra State, Professor Chukwuma Charles Soludo, for that very uplifting speech. I like the idea very much of honoring those who have done very well and made Anambra State proud. And we thank you for that gesture. In case you find a small street on the corner, I think Ebuka or Biuchendo Street sounds very good as well. Thank you very much, sir. But on a more serious note, I like the fact that you said Anambra is no longer much. Your hands of applause for him, please. Also here with us is the Honorable Minister of Agriculture, here represented by the State Director here in Anambra State, Comrade Arthur Mbuba. Your hands together for him. Thank you very much. And we also quickly have here with us the Director General of the Southeast Governors Forum, Senator Lady Uche Ekwunife. Your hands together for her. Thank you very, very much. It's time for us to take a quick keynote address. And this is a very key part of why we're here today. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd need us to pay very important attention to this, because while we'll talk investment, we also need very, very important partners who are going to be joining us on this journey. Here to give us a keynote address is someone who has done extensive work both in Nigeria and internationally, as the president of the African Export-Import Bank, Dr. Benedict Okeorama, who's here represented by the executive vice president of the African Export-Import Bank. Ladies and gentlemen, please, to deliver the keynote address, put your hands together for Kanayo Awani. Your hands together for her, please.
Obviously, I'm not Professor Benedict Orama. He's still making his way to this place. He's caught up in an important engagement with the AU. Hopefully, he'll be here sooner than later. I'm only delivering his message. In the interest of time, I'll urge you all to listen to the message and not necessarily the messenger. Our dear host and dear brother, His Excellency Governor Chukwuma Soludo, Your Excellencies, representatives of the government of Nigeria, Right Honorable Senators, members of the House of Representatives, members of Anambra State House of Assembly, Your Highness, traditional rulers, captains of industry, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. Ndị be anyị daalụ nụ, ekene m unu. Obi m bụ sọ aṅụrị otu unu si welu nye m ohere nke a ka m kwuo okwu n'emume nke taata. Obviously, if I flip-flopped, it is because I'm not from Anambra State. If there were dialectical challenges, it's because I'm from Imo State, which is, but I hope I made a good job out of that. For the benefit of those who do not understand Igbo language, I will now continue in English. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, a few miles south of this capital city, Awka, is my hometown, Nnokwa. I was a young student when Anambra State, as we know it today, was created back in 1991. Despite my youth, I was excited by the development opportunity that the new state would offer our people. I was excited by the development opportunity that the new state will offer our people, for emphasis. Like the legendary Oja Adili, who went to the spirit world, fought the spirits of the wild, and returned unscathed. The new state stood out as a home of a people who normally travel to all corners of the world in search of greener pastures and always return home to share the fruits of their industry. I knew that with a unparalleled entrepreneurship, commercial and artisanal skills, and undisputed business acumen, that the only thing that would be needed to unleash the potential was a visionary, knowledgeable, bold, and courageous leadership. That is why I believe that the emergence of Professor Soludo as governor of Anambra State ushers in a new dawn for the state. That is why I'm highly honored to stand before you today to address the 2023 Anambra Investment Summit under the theme, Laying the Foundation for a Prosperous and Smart Megacity. As we begin to collectively lay the groundwork for that prosperous and smart megacity in Anambra State, this summit will underscore what can be achieved when public and private sector stakeholders join forces to drive meaningful change. It will reemphasize to us the value of quality leadership and the benefits of building together as a people to pursue the upliftment of our collective welfare. My gratitude extends to the governor of Anambra State, His Excellency, Professor Charles Chukwuma Soludo, whose vision has set the stage for this transformational journey. The recent progress that Anambra State has made in terms of industrialization is commendable. The Onitsha River Port and the development of the Nnewi Technology Park can form the foundation on which growth and innovation can thrive. In the past, some initiatives by Afrexim Bank to support the development of the state had stalled. For instance, a proposed automotive park and water transmission reticulation project around Onitsha and Awka, estimated to cost around $350 million, could not get off the ground. A major industrial park project of the type going on in Ogun State for an investment of $400 million was aborted in Anambra State due to high levels of insecurity. Also aborted was an initiative to explore diaspora-linked instruments, such as diaspora bonds, to raise funding for some of these projects, drawing from the very strong sense of patrimony of Anambra people, the Oja delays wherever they are. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the vision of a smart megacity is not just about infrastructure. It is about fostering a future that harnesses human ingenuity, innovation, and collaboration. It is about creating an ecosystem where governments, industries, and communities unite to craft a future that uplifts all. This is why Afreximbank will stand with you as a steadfast partner, committed to fostering prosperity in Anambra State, using both financial and non-financial capabilities. As we gather here to discuss the vision for a smart megacity, let me reiterate that Afreximbank's mission aligns seamlessly with Anambra's industrialization objectives. For example, the bank has identified the emergence of industrial parks and special economic zones as a strategic priority in view of the capacity to accelerate Africa's industrial infrastructure development. These facilities do not only optimize capital deployment, but also drive economies of scale and nurture ecosystem development. They also enable the use of otherwise inaccessible technologies and cutting-edge infrastructure. Such projects, by their nature, require substantial funding from diverse sources, both public and private. In this context, innovative partnerships, including public-private partnerships, have emerged as instrumental bridges capable of closing the infrastructure gap that spans the continent. Africa's private sector, with its wealth of skills, experience, and financial resources, holds immense potential to bolster a wide spectrum of public sector endeavors. In other words, just as we have championed the transformative potential of industrial parks and special economic zones across Africa through public and private sector collaboration, committing over 1.5 billion so far in the realization of these projects, Afreximbank is ready to support Anambra State as it is doing in Ogun State and Abia State, and the Enyimba Industrial City, to promote similar projects. Regard, with peace and security gradually returning to the state, with our youth beginning to realize that their future cannot thrive in an environment of widespread insecurity, we can look forward to a similar $400 million industrial park project in collaboration with the state. Thank you. It makes business sense to do so. And we have advanced discussions with Anambra State Investment Promotion and Protection Agency, ANSIPA, to make sure that this happens and creates over 10,000 jobs here in the state, while bringing export-oriented businesses into Anambra State. We also look forward to working with ANSIPA to establish a project preparation facility that will bring the projects in the pipeline into bankability. The work of this facility will unlock more than $1 billion of bankable projects in the state. Ladies and gentlemen, in addition to the goals that we have set for ourselves and for Anambra State during this summit, I would like to highlight that Afreximbank's broader collaboration with the Federal Republic of Nigeria has been fruitful over the years. As you are aware, the bank has invested over $36 billion into the Nigerian economy since its creation in 1993 through its trade and projects financing. In addition, Afreximbank remains committed to contributing Nigeria's economic growth, as evident in a number of flagship projects underway, such as the $300 million 500-bed Africa Medical Center of Excellence going on in Abuja in partnership with King's College Hospital, London. The Afreximbank Africa Trade Center, also in Abuja, and the Africa Quality Assurance Center in Shagamu, Ogun State, which is already operational. I would also like to inform you that the bank is implementing the African Sub-Sovereigns Government Network, which is aimed at creating a platform for sub-sovereign governments throughout Africa to promote economic development and encourage intra-African trade and investment. The network enables a collaboration between the public and private sector, facilitates peer learning, and allows us to take our products and services to the grassroots, where trade and investment actually takes place. The bank has organized 2 African sub-sovereign governments network conferences since the establishment of the network in 2021, with the next one scheduled in November 13, 2023, during the bank's Intra-African Trade Fair taking place during the 9th to 15th of November in Cairo, Egypt. We invite Anambra State to attend the conference and showcase its trade and investment projects to potential investors and financial institutions. Under our U.S. Mayor's Diaspora Program, the African Sub-Sovereign Governments Network also provides an opportunity to collaborate with sub-sovereigns in the United States of America, especially those in cities where there are huge diaspora communities or African Americans. We invite His Excellency Governor Chukwuma Soludo to be a part of this event, which also provides a speaking opportunity to promote Anambra State, and in my own words, as the Chief Marketing Officer. The bank, leveraging its fundraising capabilities in Africa's capital markets, is also able to raise funds that can be deployed into impactful infrastructure projects in the state, using various financing instruments and mechanisms which can be further explored with Anambra State government, including reopening discussions around diaspora bond instruments. We look forward to working with the state government to launch a $250 million diaspora bond that can support not only the development of the mega city, but also other projects that we will identify. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as discussions progress between Afrexim Bank and Anambra State's Investment Promotion and Protection Agency and SIPA, a promising horizon unfolds, one marked by the potential for transformative growth in local manufacturing, enhanced export development, and a significant reduction in unemployment. This collaborative effort aligns perfectly with Afrexim Bank's mission and will undoubtedly contribute further to Nigeria's GDP growth and trade deficit reduction. We envisage a joint understanding for Anambra State. In my own words now, I think Governor Soludo has already talked about an MOU that we will be signing. Before I close, I must seize this opportunity to invite you all to the forthcoming Intra-African Trade Fair, which is jointly convened by Afrexim Bank, the African Union Commission, and the AFCFTA Secretariat. The trade fair provides a platform for public enterprises, financial institutions, corporates across all industries in Africa to showcase their products and plug into regional value chains. It is a sustainable platform for connecting buyers and sellers, that is exhibitors, to enable them to share trade and market information and conclude deals. In addition to mobilizing exhibitors to IATF, the bank has also developed an African buyers program that is aimed at identifying credible buyers and bringing them to the trade fair to participate in the B2B platform, which seeks to match-make buyers and sellers to facilitate conclusion of business. The buyers program continues even after the IATF and provides trade finance, trade facilitation, and trade information and advisory services to African buyers to enable them to buy made-in-Africa products and boost intra-African trade under the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. In this context, I would like to invite Anambra State to participate in the IATF as a trade fair, as exhibitor and sponsor. I'll also call on Anambra State-owned businesses with their strong heritage in commerce to the African Buyers Program. The Intra-African Trade Fair 2023 will take place in Cairo, Egypt, and from 9 to 15th of November 2023. As I end, let me reiterate that Anambra's dedication to shaping a future that is prosperous, smart, and inclusive is truly impressive. Let us use this summit as a platform to forge partnerships